Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, there's now 3 things Texas will let you shoot from a helicopter.
Also, what is a foodie call?
All that and more on the way next. You found it, the RadioU Podcast. Go ahead, leave a review, give us a rating, as long as it's 5 stars anyways. Something coming up later on in the show, you will hear us discussing Costco and their executive membership and how that can help you shop at Costco when it's a little less crowded, a new thing they're doing. But it raises a question, Allie. What's somewhere that you would go more often if it was just simply less crowded?
Oh, absolutely the pool. Just like my local pool. I would go there more if there was less people. If I could just go and swim by myself and not worry about, weird people in the pool with me or whatever, it'd be more of a fun experience, in my opinion, if it was less crowded.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
But you're worried about other people acting a fool, not like them, you just want to, you want to do your own thing and not have to worry about who all is watching you.
Yeah, no, I like privacy, obviously, but for me, it's like if there were people suntanning or whatever, I have no deal with that. But like if there's like some hairy man in the pool, I'm like, I think I'm good.
Hairy? So you wouldn't swim with me around?
No, I just mean like some just weird guy by himself.
Oh, so being hairy makes you weird?
No, just like that may be an aspect of his personality, but just somebody in the pool that I'd be like, I don't know if I can.
I feel attacked. I feel this is personal. It just became
but
personal.
it's a reality. Sometimes we would love to have a space that is public to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I know what my answer is, but it's for very opposite reasons than you. I might go to the gym.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
If there was just a gym that, I guess if I had a home gym.
Home gym, yep.
Yeah, that I just nobody's going to be around. I don't have to worry about anybody else sweating and not wiping stuff down.
Oh, that's the worst.
I don't have to worry that if I'm doing something slightly wrong, look, I want to get it right, but I also don't want to be corrected by some other rando.
Right.
And so that's my answer for the gym. And, you can only lift 25 pounds? Wow. I don't want to have to worry.
No one judging you.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that. Or that's a girl exercise you're doing. I don't want to have to hear any of these things.
Yeah, no.
Or at least feel the eyes, the judgment of others that are probably paying attention to themselves. But if they're not around, I know that they're not paying attention to me. So that's definitely my answer.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Another place I would go to more often if it was less crowded, I would go to amusement parks.
That's a good one.
I love roller coasters, but I hate lines. And so if those were less crowded, I'm not even talking empty. I don't even need the whole place to myself. But if they were just less crowded and the line was at the most 5 or 10 people in front of you, so pretty much as soon as you get in line, you're at least getting onto the next coaster that comes in the coaster train. So I think that would be something where I would definitely go more often if it was less busy.
You don't want to go to Disney World or Cedar Point and spend more of your day waiting in line than you actually do riding rides.
Which is what happens.
That's definitely what happens.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you've never been to Dollywood, I've gone twice at 2 different, both in the summer, but different times of year. And both times, and it's not like there was nobody there.
Yeah.
But it was just it's very efficient and it's, I guess, spread out enough. And there's not these are the go-to rides that everybody's going to be waiting for.
Yeah.
And so you can just almost walk right on to most rides. And so highly recommend Dollywood.
I really do want to go to Dollywood. I've heard good things about that park experience and also Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, which is they're both owned, I think, by the same people.
Yeah, and very spread out.
Which is not only Dolly Parton. There's other people that are involved.
Those other promoters. And then I did experience kind of a similar park build where everything is spread out, not as many lines, not as big. It was called Kentucky Kingdom.
Okay.
And that was a really fun experience because they only had a few main big rides, and even those didn't have lines that were super long.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to get lucky and go at the right time of year, but also some parks are just
always busy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, some parks there is no right time of year.
Yep.
If it's the right time of year, they're closed. One win away, the Oklahoma City Thunder could be NBA champions if they get the win over the Pacers coming up in Game 6 after winning last night, 120-109. And there's a lot of concern going around because Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers did not have a good game. And apparently there's now talk of him being injured. He refused to be taken out of the game. But according to reporter ESPN's Shams Karna, he believes that he reported that Tyrese Haliburton was dealing with right calf tightness, and that's why he played so poorly last night.
Yeah, I saw this. I kept getting like ESPN notifications on my phone of like updates from the game, and it's like, despite dealing with a calf injury, Haliburton is starting the second half. And, like different notifications like that because I was not able to watch last night's game because I just had different plans, and I was not home. And so, I was like, oh boy, what's going on? But yeah, the Thunder, one win away. It's going back to Indianapolis. Obviously, the Thunder have shown that they can win in Indy, but we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, the Pacers have to be, biting their nails to see what's going to happen with Haliburton.
Yeah, I mean, Rich Carlisle last night. Rick Carlisle said that they wanted to take him out at halftime, or at least concerned, but he insisted on playing. But he did not play well. And so here's the question, Allie. At what point, of course, you're Tyrese Haliburton, you want to play. You feel like you're the best, you're the best player on the team. You want to be out there.
Yeah.
But when your injury is hampering you, isn't it better for the team to just sit out and let, somebody else take the reins? Because your version of yourself that's physically capable of being out there, but not 100% of yourself, is not what the team needs tonight.
I mean, I would say in different situations, certainly. This is the finals, though.
Yeah.
You want to play. You want to give your team the best shot. And as many have pointed out in the NBA, the teams that win are the teams that are just the most talented. And so you want to keep your talent on the floor as long as you can. And these injuries they can be the nail in the coffin for these teams. And so it's unfortunate, with the run that we've seen from Haliburton and the Pacers, if this is how it ends with a stupid calf injury. But often this is how it works in sports.
Yeah.
It's just how the cookie crumbles. And it would be a frustrating way to see the Pacers go out in this series with a hobbled team. But my hope would be that he's able to recover and play in Game 6.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll be in the lineup. I just don't know how effective he'll be. But it is so true that in the NBA and in many sports that you come down to, once your team gets eliminated, you can come up with, well, if that guy just didn't get injured, who knows what would happen? I mean, obviously the Celtics this year is a prime example, and the Cavaliers too, who dealt with a lot of injuries. It happens in every playoffs, and unfortunately for the Pacers, it might be, I mean, it seems like at this point they might lose anyways, but this could be the last thing that does them in. But can't take away anything from the Thunder either. Did you see last night, the first time, and obviously the Thunder have been to the finals before, the first time that two Thunder players had more than 30 points in the same NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
And looking at you, Durant and Westbrook and James Harden from back in the day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's what they needed. It's really, really what they needed because they needed to win that game and make a statement. And all I have to say is Drew Hirschman must be feeling a little bit better now about that bet that he made to have the Thunder win. Now, if only the Oilers can get a win.
Yeah,
what is it tonight?
That was the guy that had a $13 parlay to win $270,000.
Yep.
But he's one game away from losing it all tonight because the Panthers could close it out.
Game 6 is tonight for the Stanley Cup final, and that is the Panthers, which is it's funny. The series is exactly the same for the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals, 3-2. And so, yeah, we could see his dreams come crashing down tonight.
Hopefully he figured something out.
Because
now it's too late.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, but dating apps are not for finding the one anymore. They're just for finding lunch. 8772 Radio U. TikTokers have been documenting what has been referred to as foodie calls.
Oh, boy.
Where somebody matches with you, not because they are into you, but because they're into your ability to pay for sushi.
Yeah, they're into a free meal during a date. This obviously, for the most part, is impacting men, and women are taking advantage of men.
Yeah.
I hate this. I hate all of this. This is why we've seen, I feel like, a recent, a lot of young men pulling themselves out of the dating pool because they're like, I don't want to deal with these these women that are just taking advantage of me for a free meal.
Well, if you're a guy, I think you have to just take what you can get.
Okay. And
you don't know where your love story could start.
And you think them getting taken advantage of is where they need to try.
I think if a gal does this to you, first of all, it shows she's smart with money. She knows. She's frugal.
Okay.
And so that's a good start. That's a good sign. And she might go into it thinking, I'm just going to get a coffee off of this guy. And, he's never going to be the wiser till it's too late. But then if you really are as smart and charming as you think, maybe she what starts as a free coffee becomes something more.
I mean, it could. It definitely could. But it sounds like to me, the women have already made up their mind when they're matching with these guys. Mm-hmm. They're just looking for chumps over here. Guys that, they're probably like the women are probably a little out of their league. Mm-hmm. And so but the women know that and they use that to their advantage. And so that's why they're getting these little saps over here to pay for their meal. And they're not even worried about hurting their feelings. They're not even worried about, the guilt that should be felt by already having this plan of like, okay, I'm just going to go along for this date for the free food, but I have no intention of actually giving them a shot. Mm-hmm. That to me is the bad part about this, is like the intent. You're already intending not to let this date work out, so you already have convinced yourselves. And believe me, the brain is powerful. When you've already convinced yourself that this person is not who you're going to work out with, it's really hard for you to convince yourself otherwise and give them a shot.
So what's your advice to guys that are afraid now they're going to get foodie called?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the solution to a problem like this is. I have mentioned on here before, like I tried a dating app. I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like dating apps are just not a great way of, I know so many people that have found their significant others on dating apps, but I just feel like it's not that it's not that efficient. It's not that effective at actually finding somebody.
It's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And what it used to be didn't used to be good either.
Yeah, but, right. It's only gotten worse.
But I have an answer. I think this is fair. I think that we can agree on a rule.
Okay.
I think to the ladies out there that want to do foodie calls, honestly, if I was a lady that was attractive at all, I know that I would be so tempted to do this. I wonder why more women don't, because they're just free meals just sitting out there waiting.
I think a lot of women actually do this.
I know. I feel like this is not even that new. It's just people are being more open about it. But, I would be tempted too. But here's the answer, because I think this is fair. If you foodie call a guy at the end of the date, you've got to tip him. You got to give him a tip. You would tip your DoorDash driver, and you're getting a DoorDash discount.
So, tip him money or give him a tip on here's how you can improve for next time? For your next date?
That depends on if you think he would take that well.
I don't think he would take either well.
But you give him, 20%. It's like, hey, thanks for driving me over here and giving me a latte. And I think that's fair. I think at least he can feel like he didn't completely waste his time. Because he made like a little bit of money back.
Yeah.
And when you're a guy, and this is true for women, but especially guys, you got to practice too.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
If you get foodie called and you realize after, like she just wanted the sushi or whatever.
Yeah, she just wanted me for the free meal.
Don't be upset about it. Look at yourself and go, no, this is practice. This was a test. This was a shoot around.
Practice, and I'm not going to fall for it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And just you'll get them next time.
Yeah. I am now a cheer coach, Hudson.
An official cheer coach.
Officially official.
How much you get paid for that?
Nothing.
Oh.
It's fully volunteer.
Volunteer?
Yes.
Like, are you cheer coaching cheerleaders, or what is this at softball?
No, this is not at softball. Many of you probably have heard of this phenomenon over the summer. It's known as Vacation Bible School, VBS for short.
Yeah.
That happens at so many churches all across America. And I'm a part of the one that is happening at my church. Mm-hmm. And the theme is Mega Sports Camp.
Oh,
and
fun.
Yeah, so it's like basketball, soccer, cheer, and then they also have art camp for the kids that don't want to do sports. And so I am helping my cousin Kathy to lead the cheer portion of that, and so we are the head coaches for cheer. So I am a cheer coach now.
What's your cheer coach resume? What cheers have you done before?
Well, I never did cheer before. Kathy had done some cheerleading coaching before many, many years ago, but she led this same camp last year, but did it by herself. And she was like, it was really hard to do it by herself.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm willing to do it again, but if I need help. And so I was like, I'd be willing to jump in and help with you.
All right.
And so we have been having a lot of fun. Our main dance routine that we're teaching them, the cheer dance thing, is to Frozen, Let It Go.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever seen a cheer to that before, but
it's like Frozen mixed with cheer music. So it's like a remix of Let It Go. It's not the Let It Go that you're thinking of, from the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real. We're having a lot of fun. We had our first sessions last night.
Your first practice?
Yeah, first practice. And the big production when we get to present to the whole VBS, our dance routine will be tomorrow, Wednesday.
Oh.
And so we are like, we got to practice, we got to get ready, and we got to have this down packed. And I feel like I'm channeling my inner dance moms at this point.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we're going to need video of this.
Oh, we are definitely getting video.
Definitely going to need that. What was your favorite cheer growing up?
I don't know if I had a favorite cheer growing up, but we are teaching them different cheers, not just this dance routine.
Yeah.
So last night we taught them their first cheer as kind of a warm up, which was a cheer that's go, go, G-O, G-O.
Okay.
And that's a really easy one. And then we're also teaching them one that's called Boom Dynamite. There's another cheer that's called Hey Cheerleader that we're doing. Another one that's Go Bananas. And I'm like, this would be perfect for the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure me and Kathy are going to film ourselves and then post it and be like, hey, Savannah Bananas, you need to add this cheer to your show.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to see all of this.
We did take some fun pictures last night as coaches because we have a cheer book that we're supposed to follow. And the poses in this book are a little crazy. Let's just say that.
You got to be flexible.
You got to be flexible, but also it's giving JCPenney photo shoot. And we did a few of them.
I'm excited to see all of this. I could never be involved in cheerleading.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Actually, I am kind of flexible, but I can't do that. But also, it's just too much spelling.
Oh, too much spelling.
Yeah, I get lost.
Can't say G-O-G-O.
No, I mean, that's about as far as I can go. Once you start getting into spelling aggressive and stuff like that, I'm out. Bananas.
Yeah, we're not teaching them the aggressive cheer, so you're good.
That's too much. It's hard to imagine a restaurant that has a higher approval rating than Chick-fil-A. 8772 Radio U, it seems that goodwill may be running out. At least if you can trust the internet battleground that is the Chick-fil-A Reddit, where fans of Chick-fil-A have found not one but two textbook first world problems to be complaining about at Chick-fil-A. One, I don't know, which one do you think is a bigger deal, Allie? The idea that some people are upset that some Chick-fil-A's are not using styrofoam cups, or the sauce packet's not opening properly. This is what people are complaining about at Chick-fil-A.
Man, I was thinking the exact same thing as far as textbook first world problems, because these seem like such dumb things to get.
So trivial.
Yeah, to get really upset about, yet people are and seem very entrenched in their opinions. I don't know which one I would consider the bigger deal, because I consider neither of them that big of a deal. But maybe the one that's more iconic would be the styrofoam cup. But also, as pointed out in the Reddit post about the styrofoam cup, it's not that Chick-fil-A nationwide has gotten rid of styrofoam cups. It's that there's certain areas of the country that have banned the use of styrofoam. And so what is Chick-fil-A going to do? They're going to use paper cups.
Yeah.
And so that's, I feel like, kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
But I do think that's the more iconic thing, that if Chick-fil-A did get rid of that nationwide, it would definitely be headline news.
Yeah, it would be. People are already complaining about a few local locations, so forget about if everywhere did it. The sauce packet thing seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think it actually does show the power of Chick-fil-A, that these are the things people are complaining about, particularly the sauce packets are not opening correctly. You go to Burger King and what are you complaining about? Everything.
Yeah.
You go to Chick-fil-A, everything is so buttoned up and dialed in that you're people love to complain about something and you have to find those sauce packets to take issue with. So the styrofoam cups is the bigger deal, but I'm telling you, if Chick-fil-A gets rid of the styrofoam cups, that's good news.
Why?
I don't care about the environment. What I do care about is how styrofoam, what happened to me with a styrofoam cup is that straws have gone straight through styrofoam cups, through the bottom, spilling the drink everywhere.
Really?
Mess. Ruined things. That's never happened with a paper cup in anybody's life. The kind of cups, or plastic like McDonald's has.
I was going to say the plastic cups I think are probably the most reliable because I have encountered some paper cups where the bottom has gotten like a little too soggy.
Well, then you didn't drink it fast enough.
Well, that's the problem with the paper stuff. And a lot of people pointed that out. Like the paper cup, it doesn't insulate as well as the styrofoam. So,
well, I saw people in the comments saying this too. If you're worried about insulation, get one of your billions of Stanley cups.
Just get a Yeti or a Stanley cup and just pour your drink in there.
Seriously.
I think Chick-fil-A would be more than happy to do that for you because they always say my pleasure. So they'll be fine.
They'd pour it in, or you can just do that yourself and you'll survive. You'll be just fine.
You'll be fine.
It's crazy. It does, like I said, it speaks a lot for Chick-fil-A that these are the things people are complaining about.
These are the top complaints.
But also, people will just find anything to complain about.
It's true. Because again, the styrofoam cup thing is completely out of their control. I believe that they would want styrofoam cups across the board if they could have them. The sauce packet not opening correctly, it might speak to more incompetence on the user end.
Yeah.
Like
people are like, well, I opened 6 in a row and they all tore improperly.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
maybe it was how you did it.
Maybe you're tearing improperly. And what does that even actually mean anyways?
Right. And also at the end of the day, just open it up and get the best sauce ever and you will be fine.
Yeah. Okay, this is going to sound ridiculous, but trust me on this. Some researchers think that the key to understanding aliens, if we ever make contact with them, could be whale bubbles. Stop laughing. This is real. This is science.
Okay.
This is from the SETI Institute. They know what they're doing at the University of California, Davis.
All right.
Where
Davis.
They've had researchers studying amicable interactions between humpback whales and humans, where they believe that whales have tried to use bubbles to communicate with us. And so they think that this different kind of communication, understanding this, could be the way to figuring out how to communicate with aliens, who obviously would have the odds would be, what are the odds that there's aliens? What are the odds, even further, that they have a language anywhere similar that we could understand or that they could understand us? It's just not going to happen, right? So we have to figure out, how do we figure out what they're saying? And so first we have to figure out what whales are saying.
Okay. Seems odd to be like, all right, we have to figure out what a species here on Earth is saying to understand what aliens are telling us. I don't really get the logic there.
Well, I guess it would be, if nothing else. I like that they just took the jump straight from, let's figure out what the whales are saying.
Yeah, to aliens.
Not to be able to communicate with whales, but so we can communicate with aliens.
It seems almost more absurd to me that they would think that whales have the ability to communicate with aliens. Because if aliens are so sophisticated that they communicate in a way that we can't understand, why in the world can the whales understand them?
Well, I don't think they're saying that the whales and aliens would be talking.
Well, how is understanding what the whales are saying helping us communicate with aliens?
Because we are trying to decode their language that we...
So in a sense, they're saying the whale language and the alien language are similar?
Yeah, if you can decode something that is from a species that communicates entirely differently, once you can do it with whales... Maybe you just take that thought process and translate it to all other species.
That is such a leap. That seems like such a leap. I don't get how that's science.
I just don't like how the whales are being used here. The whales are like, why don't you want to talk with us, though?
Yeah, this is not a very Kantian ethic. This is the opposite of what Immanuel Kant wanted. We're using the whales as a means to the end, and not an end.
And... just say a little something for the people, the researchers that are tasked with this. It's like, I need you to sit here and look at the whale bubbles and figure out what they're saying.
Figure out what it says.
I think he's saying I would just be guessing. I'd just be making up stuff.
I think that's how we honestly came up with a lot of language, decoding as we just guess.
I think he's saying it's hard. I think he wants krill.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
That sounds
right.
Would
a whale say that?
That sounds right.
You sound unsure, and then they're like, you're onto something, Jackson. An extra gold star for you.
I mean, every time my cat meows at me, I'm like, yep, she wants food.
Yeah.
That's what she wants.
Yeah, so I think I would be good at this job.
Yeah.
I think sign me up.
We could definitely decode what the whales are saying.
I'd have a bright future in this institute.
And then apparently a continued future because you go straight from whales to aliens. in this universe.
I feel like higher stakes, though. I don't know if that's a leap I want to make.
It's a big leap.
Faking my way through whale research so that when the actual aliens come, I'm there like, I think they're saying they want to kill us. I don't know. Some might say sports betting has gotten out of hand in this country, but I think most people would say the people that lose at sports betting have definitely gotten out of hand in this country. 8772 Radio U. I'll tell you who's definitely thinking that is Scotty Scheffler, one of the biggest stars in golf, who, according to a report from CNN, had to go ahead and delete his Venmo because he was just getting too many requests from jilted sports bettors.
Oh, boy.
Who claimed that, who wanted to get a little payback after he didn't win cash a bet for them. Didn't play well enough to cash a bet they made.
What about all the bets that people have won because of Scotty Scheffler?
I know,
Are
seriously.
they sending him money?
Of all the people to be upset with, first of all, if you're betting on Scotty Scheffler, why don't you look at yourself? You're betting on a golfer that's like plus 275 to win events. You're not going to make a lot of money doing that, even as good as Scotty is.
Yeah.
But you can't be upset the handful of times he doesn't win the tournament. Come on.
Yeah, like he's definitely one of the more clutch golfers right now. So you have a pretty decent chance of him winning. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just seems odd that they would be super mad at him for losing, but then not send him money when they do win.
Well, to be fair, he did say, this is the quote, I had to get rid of my Venmo because I was either getting paid by people or people requesting me a bunch of money when I didn't win.
Oh, so people were thanking him.
Yeah, but he said that the people who were giving him money, thanking him when he won, firmly outnumbered by the number of requests from bettors who had lost. And since Scotty's already accumulated over $86 million in career winnings, not really worth him sticking around on
Venmo.
On Venmo to get a few bucks here and there versus all the hate and angry Venmo requests people sending his way when he doesn't win.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's one thing for Scotty Scheffler, but it has been well documented that particularly for like student athletes who like the lower levels down you go, people can still bet on like NCAA lacrosse and like you know the right place to turn on. It's like legalized betting on these like lower and lower things where players aren't even getting NIL money and stuff like that. That's really worth anything. And, it's one thing. I don't think it's right. But it's one thing if you want to complain about a pro athlete because it's like it's his job and whatever. He's on TV and they're like, if you're not going to hate him for losing your bet, you're probably going to hate him for some other reason. Like, I just think people are going to complain online.
Yeah.
But student athletes, they're not like, it's not even their job. They're just doing it, for fun or for the scholarship or whatever. And you're going to hop on there and be like, how come you at the College World Series didn't get enough strikeouts for me or whatever?
Right.
And it's like, leave these kids alone.
Yeah. You should know that in taking a bet, there is risk of it not hitting.
Mm-hmm.
That is inherent. And so you can't blame the person that is, who you are betting on or the team that you are betting on when it doesn't hit. There is a reason why these gambling sites make money. It's because of chumps like you that are giving them money.
Nobody that loses a bet ever wants to look in the mirror and go, maybe it was my fault.
Maybe
I made a bad bet. No, it was Jimmy from Louisiana Tech's fault for not stealing that base or whatever.
Yeah.
And
is there really anything such as a good bet? It's a bet. You're gambling.
You're betting. They don't build the casinos by losing money.
Right. All the bets that you can set up, there's an inherent risk no matter what the odds are.
Mm-hmm.
There's an inherent risk that you're going to lose. I'd say you're more likely to lose the money than you are to win it. So I feel like there's no real good bet.
Mm-hmm. But all that said, like I keep hearing these ads on podcasts I listen to that are, like student athletes, and they're like, these are the messages I got. And it's like, don't criticize student athletes on Twitter or whatever after they lose a bet. And it's like, I don't think the people that are criticizing them on Twitter, that are sending them angry DMs are going to have their behaviors changed by
by these podcasts telling them.
Yeah, the ads that are telling them, the PSAs. Don't send angry messages to TCU's catcher. Don't think it's going to make a difference. Sorry. Things are just different in Texas, Allie. Like something you can do in Texas that I don't think you can do much of anywhere else. Shoot goats from a helicopter.
Do they have a goat problem in Texas?
Apparently they do. Or actually, I guess these are technically sheep. I don't even know how to say this word. It looks like you fell asleep on the keyboard. Aoudad. Aoudad. That's a kind of sheep.
I don't even see where that's at.
It's a kind of invasive sheep in Texas, and lawmakers have just legalized shooting these sheep from a helicopter.
So it's that bad.
It's gotten that out of control that you can just go up in the sky.
They're like, it's Jurassic Park out here. We can't even get near them.
Go Call of Duty on a bunch of unsuspecting sheep. But what's crazy? What else is crazy to me is this is not the first animal that you can shoot from a helicopter in Texas.
What's the other one?
There's two other ones.
Oh my goodness. What are they?
There's some precedent for shooting animals from helicopters in Texas.
Who is doing this?
I don't know. I don't want to shoot animals. I'm not a hunter.
Yeah.
But also, does it not sound fun?
To shoot animals from a from a
to
helicopter?
Shoot anything from a helicopter.
Actually, no, that doesn't sound fun to me at all. I don't personally find any appeal in shooting. I don't have anything against people shooting and hunting. I have nothing against any of that. But for me, not interested.
Have you ever played paintball?
No.
Oh, you. I think you'd have a lot of fun, especially if you're in a helicopter and nobody could shoot up at you. And you're shooting down at the paintball targets. It makes it a lot more fun. But wait, I never answered the question. The other animals you can shoot specifically from a helicopter in Texas: coyotes.
Oh, okay.
And feral hogs.
The hogs are indeed a problem. We've talked about that before.
You are allowed in Texas, and this has been this way for some time, to just hop up in a helicopter if you can get your hands on one.
Yeah.
And start mowing down feral hogs.
That's what I don't understand. Like, who is actually doing this? Who has the access, the ability to be like, yep, helicopter ride to take out some hogs?
I don't know, but I mean...
And then do you land and then get the meat? Because it feels like odd to just let the meat go to waste.
Well, maybe they started gunning down feral hogs and then they would just leave it. And then that's where the coyote problem came from. They all moved in, to
eat the hog?
To eat the leftover hog meat.
Maybe.
Because, you're right. You got to just leave it there.
I would imagine, unless you're planning to stop after every single one.
Oh, no, we're thinking small here. Hello, if you can get your hands on a helicopter, you've rounded up a posse to go up in a helicopter and start shooting down hogs.
You've got groundwork.
You got people on the ground.
You got a ground team.
In one of those trucks that has like the double tires on the back. They can just go out in these fields. And
I call those trucks with hips.
Yeah, that's what they are. I know there's a technical term that I can't think of, but
that's what I call them.
That's totally fine. And yeah, you got a group of guys down there. You got a group of guys up in the helicopter, and you just work in tandem.
Yeah.
Taking out the hogs, and now the Aoudad sheep as well.
Right. We're like, hey, we just shot down 3 hogs, 3 clicks to the left or whatever. I don't know how you would describe it.
I mean, the truth is probably right that this is less just like random folks doing this. Like you just don't round up.
Random folks getting up in a helicopter?
Yeah, I don't think it's like, hey, you know what we're doing this weekend? We're getting the guys together. We're renting a helicopter, shooting hogs. This is more like probably some wildlife control type of, park rangers or whatever you would call it. Pest management.
So they do say here that in this article, it incorrectly reported that the shooting of this invasive sheep was allowed for sport. It's not.
Yeah. So you can't just do it for fun.
Anyone can't just do this.
Which is smart because it would be fun.
And it would get crazy. It would get GTA 6 crazy.
Yeah, you think... You have like this one ranch where it's just like they're selling tickets for you to go up in a helicopter. It'd be huge business.
Helicopter ranch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That would be a great business idea, though.
I mean, it does sound like it would happen if any place, it would happen in Texas.
100%. 100%. But I guess it's just a lucky few.
Yeah.
Like you have to go through schooling and everything.
Yes.
To be one of the lucky few that get to go up in helicopters just to shoot sheep.
Yeah.
We are talking the words that you just feel like you can never spell right, and people are sending many in. Let's start with Luke, who has 2. Luke says nauseous, and he spelled it Nauseous, and I'm not sure if that's right or not.
Yeah. Let me.
Is there another A in there somewhere? I don't know.
I mean, there's nauseous and then there's also noxious. So
and
those are 2 different
nausea.
Yeah. He did spell nauseous the right way.
Okay, now we know. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't know, Luke. And he also said conscious. So anything with an yes at the end, Luke seems to have problems with.
Yeah, but it's like that OUS at the end. That can really mess you up sometimes.
Yeah, and then, do you do an E? Do you do an I? What do you do? Sometimes you just don't know.
Right. And then we also heard, let's see here, from Chad. He said necessary was actually one that he always struggles with. He always flubs up the S and the C and how many of each.
Yeah, and the R too. Any word that has like multiple doubles of back-to-back letters, you're like,
how many doubles?
Yeah, which
and
ones are the doubles? Yeah. I definitely get that.
Yep.
Regina said onomatopoeia. The good news is, how often do you have to spell that? Probably not often.
Yeah, probably don't need to run into that one too much. And then we also heard from Hannah. She says she's dyslexic, so there are a lot of words that she has trouble spelling.
Fair.
But the one that she always has trouble with is the word probably, and she doesn't know why. But again, you gave us the answer, Hannah. You're dyslexic. Yeah. So sometimes there are just words that just don't make sense.
For me, probably I know how to spell it, but another offshoot of this is the words that when you're typing, you always mistype them.
Yeah.
And and it's like not that you're misspelling it or whatever, but for some reason you go in the wrong order when you're typing.
Yep.
And that's probably for me.
Really?
I always type it as porbably. Badly.
So P-O-R?
Yeah, I get the O and the R. I type them backwards every time.
Yep.
Without fail.
Yeah.
Good thing Grammarly is here to save me.
Good thing. I heard from Susanna. She says she's never confident with frittata, like spinach frittata.
Uh-huh.
She asked frittata, ? You did spell it right.
I think, I'll take your word on that.
Yeah, that is how you spell frittata. So
Aaron has a classic Q, like a Q and like you're next in queue.
Yep.
A lot. Maybe the best thing to do would just be to write line instead.
Yeah.
Most of the time, because it is a lot of E's and U's and hard to keep them all straight.
Yes. And then Thomas is exactly the issue that I had. All of the IE or EI words trip me up because the whole concept of I before E except after C doesn't work as much as Schoolhouse Rock would lead you to believe. Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely true. There are a lot more exceptions to that rule than you realize, like words like science or species. Those don't work with the I before E except after C rule. And so I always mess that stuff up too.
Yeah.
And I get that rule backwards.
Whenever I'm writing words that have the IE, it's just vibes.
It's just vibes.
I'm like, does that look receiver? Does that look right?
Does that look correct?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, it feels right, so I'm just gonna go with that.
Receive does follow that rule, so you can live with the, the EI after C.
I guess science, it would be, that one you should be able to figure out just based off sounding
Just based off of sound,
on phonics.
But it doesn't follow the rule of the whole I before it. E except after C, because there's a C and then it's IE.
I feel like mine are more, it's less one word and more just like types of words. And like Chad mentioned with the double letters, but also even more for me is words that start with PRE or PER, like perspective. I don't know. Is that PER spective or is it PRE spective? I don't. And there's a lot of words like that start with one of those two, and I never know which is which.
Well, I mean,
obviously it's pre something like prehistoric, but perspective. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Maybe it's perspective. I don't even know.
Yeah, it is confusing. And Thomas brings up another example of that with the affect and effect thing, where it's like effect with an A at the beginning and effect with an E at the beginning.
Yeah.
They sound the same but are used in different ways. I'll say the one for me that I also mess up all the time is a name, Isaiah.
Well, there's so many ways to spell it.
Well, I feel like the traditional way is the biblical way to spell it, and I always mess it up because I'm like, "Where's the other I go? Where does it go?"
Yeah.
Even though it totally makes sense, it's in the middle of the two A's. It just always confuses me.
No, you're right, but I feel like that's not your fault. That's everybody's fault for coming up with different ways to
spell Isaiah.
Yeah,
I think I've only ever
and it's like, what is? What are you doing?
I think I've only encountered like the Isaiah, like the biblical spelling of it, but I've always been confused. And like anytime I'm like writing it out, I'm like, wait, where does the other I go?
Yeah.
Where does it go? And it just confuses me.
I'm with you on that. You know that old like axiom, I guess it would be idiom. I don't know what the right word is. But the old knowledge that 90% of the iceberg is underwater.
Yes.
You only see the tip of the iceberg, the 10% that's sticking up, but there's so much more underneath that you never see.
Yep.
And I feel like that so accurately sums up a lot of things in life, including dating. When you're going on like first dates with people, you're showing them the tip of the iceberg of you, and you're
the
seeing
10%.
The tip of the iceberg of them, and the tip of the iceberg is like the good stuff. But then you date them long enough, you get into a deep enough relationship, you start to see all of the other iceberg, the other 90% that's been bubbling below the surface.
Bubbling.
And then you have to decide at that point, like, do I really love all of the iceberg, or do I just like the 10% that I saw at first?
Yeah.
And that's a decision you have to make. And that's, again, something we all have to reckon with. Like, we're showing people 10%, but then there's so much more below that for some whatever reason you want to keep hidden. I feel like this can apply to God too in a couple ways. One, I feel like the way that you see God out portrayed in the world is often the 10%, and it's not the good 10%. It's, because we're all Christians, even though they try to follow God as good as they can, there are instances, because we're human, we make mistakes, where we're not representing God in the best way. And so and then and many people take that and go, see, look, why would I want to be with God when he's like that? But you're not seeing the whole iceberg.
Yeah.
And it's the reverse case of how so much of us are when we're dating, is the 90% of the iceberg that's underneath that you don't get to see unless you actually get to know God is the great part of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And that's totally worth loving. And then secondly, that 100% of the iceberg that's underground, for us, God already sees that, and he's already chosen to love you, so there's no reason to hide it from him.
Absolutely. And I think even worse than the whole concept of like you're only seeing 10% and that 10% is not good, I believe God is fully good, but what we represent to the world of God sometimes is not truly what God is or who God is. And so it's a misrepresentation. It's almost like you're seeing a fake iceberg out there.
It's a dupe.
It's not even God. And so, I think that's absolutely true, where if you judge God based off of people, you're not going to truly experience God. And also, you shouldn't be judging God that way. As you pointed out, God is not judging you like that. And so it's not fair to do the same. And so, I think it's important for you to truly open yourself up and humble yourself to want to get to know the creator of the universe, the creator of you. That is the best choice you can make, the best decision you can make. And as you pointed out, when we think of dating, you see the good things first and you only get to know somebody briefly on a first date or whatever. It's over time that you get to know them. Mm-hmm. Well, I always say there is never enough time in my lifetime to get to know God fully. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't continue to do so every single day. There's something new to learn about him every single day. If you just open that part of yourself up and let him reveal himself to you, you will not regret it.
There's so much of the iceberg to explore. Get exploring. That is a relationship you can step into right now. And like we said, God already sees your whole iceberg. He sees all the blemishes in your iceberg, and he still loves you. He's already chosen to love you. And so now it's a chance for you to choose to love him and find out and let him show you who he is straight from him instead of letting other people get in the way. And find out what that's like. If you want to know more, start talking to God. Go from there. Go to RadioU.com/free gift. Did you know that Costco has different levels of memberships?
I did not know this.
No, neither did I. But you can just be a normal, average, everyday, ordinary Costco member. Or you could upgrade. You could be what they call an executive member.
Oh. Yeah. What does that get you?
Fancy. I don't know. Okay. I know that it comes with some certain amount of benefits anyways, but the reason that I just found out about it is because they've just expanded, or they are about to expand, to a new benefit for executive members.
Okay.
And that is they're going to have reserved hours where only executive members are able to shop at Costco, so way less crowded.
It'll be less busy.
Yeah. So
that is appealing to me, let me tell you.
If you become an executive member starting on June 30th, Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 10 a.m. is for executives only. Also Saturday from 9 to 9:30 a.m. and Sunday from 9 to 10 a.m. Why didn't they just say Sunday through Friday? You can shop from 9 to 10, and it will only be the exclusive few that choose to pay up for that executive membership.
That's not a lot of time, though. I've never shopped at Costco. I have shopped at Sam's Club, though, and I feel like those places that are the bulk stores, or stores where, it's like a club membership or whatever, it takes a little bit of time to shop there.
Yeah, if you're doing you're just gathering everything up for the week or the month or whatever.
Yeah, and so
you need to have your time. And some people just like to dilly-dally.
Yeah, and so to only be limited to 30 minutes before the crowds start coming in, it's like, that's not a lot of time. But I understand they can't limit it for ever.
Yeah, and there has to be a very... they have to have this be a very limited amount of time for it to even make sense for them.
Right.
Because how many people are actually going to do this?
Right. I don't know. Does Costco open at 9? Is that why they're doing it at 9 a.m. every day?
I guess so. Maybe, they're just cutting out the people that can come in that just have the regular memberships.
Right. Because I was thinking, I'm like, they'd have to do this at either start or close. I think really you can only do it at start because you're not going to kick people out that aren't executive members.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I like the person because this is how I am. I'd pay 10x if I could shop from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Not just because I've experienced, I wake up early, I come into the show and nothing is open.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need something before the show, like today, for example.
Right.
But also, if you ever have gone to a 24-hour store before
dead.
6, 7 a.m.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
It's
the most
so nice.
peaceful moments you can ever have in life.
It is so
are
nice.
just perusing through Target, a 24-hour Target at 3 a.m.
Yeah, they always used to tell me, living here in Ohio, the best time to shop was when an Ohio State football game was going on.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the problem. I'm a big Buckeye fan. I can't make that decision. And also, I don't think that's true anymore.
Why do you say that?
I feel like now grocery stores are just busy anytime you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they have such limited hours compared to what they were before COVID.
Yeah, but I'm also the kind of guy that I don't even notice if it's crowded,
Yeah.
Like I might have to park further away, but I don't mind that. And then it only matters when you're waiting in line to me.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person that's like, I hate the crowds.
Right.
But I do. I mean, I don't hate crowds. But I do love just having that piece of like, I can take all the time I need.
All the time you need. You don't. You're
nobody's
not worried,
around.
You're not worried about being in someone's way or someone else is in your way. You know, that's nice.
Or them like judging my purchases.
I never worry about that.
Sometimes I see other customers giving me the side eye.
Really?
Yeah, at least I feel that way.
Oh, no, I never think that. Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.